Hello, Year 4. So our last lesson for this week is whether or not you can compare decimals with up to two decimal places. This can be any number with two decimal places. This is where all of that work we've done for the last two lessons comes in and helps us out. Because what we've done is we've worked out exactly where the value of the digit is and what the value is, using our place value grid to help us. So hopefully, moving forwards, that'll make our lives easier. In order to do this, we need to know what these three symbols mean. And we need to know what that means for us and how that helps us show whether a number is greater than or less than the number before it. So when we're looking at these, and we're looking at this one first. Now, this particular sign is very, very important. You've all used it. You all hopefully know it is your equals sign. And what it says is that the number on either side of it, this side and this side, are the same value. Whether that's a number or a calculation, it doesn't matter. But on either side of the equal sign, they are the same outcome. Now we've got these two symbols here. And then one of them means greater than, one of them means less than. You read it as you would read a sentence. So the number that is here, then this symbol, then the number that's here. Now we've talked about multiple ways to remember this. We've talked about them being crocodiles and eating the larger number, because we all know crocodiles are very hungry. They're always going to go for the largest meal. We can have it pointing to the smallest number. You could think about this being very, very close. They're touching, so it must be small. This is further apart, so is larger. There's lots of ways to remember it. But the thing to remember is the open end is the larger number. Okay? So in this case here, we have the number, which is greater than this number, because it's on this side. This case here is this number that's here would be less than this number here, because this one is bigger. Now it links in because we're doing the same thing as we've done before. The first thing we're doing is looking at the numbers we've got there, and we can write them down, and then we're comparing the two numbers. Now the easiest way to do this is to place them onto one place value grid. And this helps us because then we can look at the rule that we need to look at and see which one is bigger. So let's have a look at the first one here. We're going to go, so the first thing is we fill in the number. We put the 3 in there. We put the decimal point. We've got 4 in the hundredths column. Remember back to our last lesson, we need our placeholder here. And we put it in. Then we fill in our second number, 3 in the ones column, 1 in our tenths, and 1 in our hundredths column. And there's our number. Making sure we put a decimal point in. Now, whenever we're comparing numbers, we always compare starting with the largest possible column. Now, in this case, our largest column is our ones column. If we went up to hundreds, it would be the hundreds column. Whichever column is furthest to this side is the number you're going to look at first. So we look into this column, and in this case, we have the same value, which means we can't tell at the moment which number is bigger. Then we move down a column. We look here, we've got 0 and 1. Straight away, we know that 1 is bigger than 0, so our larger number is going to be this here. Doesn't matter that this is bigger than this, because we've already declared that this is the column we're looking to give us our answer. So for that case, we can say over here that this number is less than this number. So our greater than or less than sign must point to, the point of it points to the smallest one, or the big end comes out pointing to the largest. So our sign goes in like that. Okay? Have a go at the next one and see what answer you come up with. Okay, hopefully you've had a go. So let's see and see whether or not we can have a go at this ourselves. The first one, we need to put our ones in. So we've got 2 ones in that column. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9/10. 9/10 in, making sure our decimal point goes in. And then we've got 4 in the hundreds column. Our second number has 2 in the ones column, decimal point. Then we've got still 9 in the tenths column, and we have 2 in the hundreds column. So we go through our standard routine. We look in the largest possible column and compare the two numbers. They're the same, which means we move down a column and look here. Both 9, they're the same. Go down one more column and look here, we can see that 4 is larger than 2. So of these two, the largest number is this one here, which means for our answer, we need to point towards the smallest number or have the open end towards the largest number. So our symbol goes in like that. Okay, so here are a few more questions. Now, the first thing I want you to do is to have a go and see how you do, and then come back and I'll go through the answers. Pause now to try that. Okay, so let's go through the answers to these. Now, as you can see, they don't have the place value grid there. That doesn't say you can't set it up yourself, and there's no reason why that would be a problem. So if you need to, do it, set it up. The other way to do it is always to use your place value, your decimal point, as a point of reference. Therefore, you know what columns are where, and it's slightly easier then to compare them. Remember, if you're going up, you go to the top, the highest possible column that the number is in. And if there is nothing in that column in one of the answers, then you have your answer already. But you must make sure you look in that column and make sure that you line up your columns correctly. Let's have a look at the first one. We look at our one columns first and they're the same. We know that it's the one column that's next to this one. Go to our tenths, they're the same. Then we go to our hundredths column. This one here is the larger one, so the open end points in this direction. Go to our next one. Now in this one, there's no hundredths here. Now I could put the 0 in if I need to, but also I know that that's not needed because we're going to know by that stage whether or not it's the same in the next one. Okay? Look in our ones column, it's the same. Look in our tenths column, 5 is bigger than 4, so that number must be our large number. Next one down, we can go to our ones column, and straight away we've already found that the 4 is bigger than a 3. Therefore, 4.03 must be larger than 3.79. Our last one here, look in the first column, in the ones column, we've got 1, they're the same. Got our decimal point, which is our point of reference. Then we move into our tens column, we've got a 0 and 1 and a 1 in the other. This one is bigger than a 0, so this number must be bigger. So the crocodile eats the bigger number. Okay, so we're going to look at the harder questions you can get in comparing numbers, which is when there's a missing number. Now, as long as you follow the rules, actually, this shouldn't be too hard. So let's look at the first one. We've got 0.43, which is going to be less than whatever the number is on this side, which is 0 point something 3. We follow our rules. We compare the largest digit first, the largest column first, which is 0, and then we move down to our next column, which is this 4 and this missing number, which means this missing number is going to make all the difference as to what the answer is going to be. We need this to be larger than, greater than this number here, because this is the bigger side, which means any digit which is larger than 4 up to 9 can go in here. And I'm going to put a 6 in, as it is larger than. Have a go at the other 3 questions, and then come back and I will go through the answers. Pause. Okay, let's go through the other answers and see what we can come up with. We've got first one being 5.19, which is greater than, this is bigger than 5 point something 9. Now this is going to be the bigger number in this case because of the way our sign is pointing. This is going to be smaller than. Following our rules, we look at the largest column first, and these are the same. We move down to our tenths, and we know this is where the difference is going to come because our hundreds are the same. So in this case, we've got 1 in this column, it needs to be bigger than whatever is in this column. We only have one choice. Only one digit is smaller than 1, and that's 0. Our next one, getting slightly harder, is 1 point something 4 is greater than 1 point something 4. This is the bigger number, this is the smaller number. Now you've got lots and lots of choices you can make here, because our ones column is the same and our tens column is the column that's going to make a difference. The hundreds column is the same. Now in this case, we actually have loads of combinations we can have. As long as this digit on this side is smaller than the digit on this side, our answer is going to be correct. So for example, if we put a 2 in here, we just need to make sure this number here is bigger than it, it's on the larger side. So if I put a 4 in there, I've got 1.44 is greater than 1.24. Our final one is 2 point something 6 is less than something 0.66. First thing we do is we work out which one's bigger. We know this one's got to be bigger than this one. And then we look at our first column, which is our ones column, and we've got a missing number. This missing number must be, as it says here, bigger than this missing number here, this number here, which is 2. Realistically, we can put anything in there as long as it's not 2 or lower. So we can go up from there. So I could put a 7 in here and that would be 7.66, which is bigger than 2, but whatever, 6. We could do it so this was still 2. That would then go down to our tenths and we'd have to make a comparison here, and this one would have to be smaller than this. But why make our lives harder than they need to be? Do the difference here, and then it doesn't matter what number I put in here. This is always going to be smaller. I could put a 9, it still doesn't matter.
Here are the questions for you to have a go at. Have a go, try your best, upload your answers to Tapestry or social media, and we'll see you in the